we created a new character, blazed our way through the story of Sunbreak, and unlocked ourselves Anomaly investigations with one question in mind. How long does it take to get from Anomaly rank 0 all the way to Anomaly rank 300? The answer may surprise you.
Now, I know you're probably eager to hear the results, but it's important for us to explain how we ended up with the results that we got, as well as how it may differ for someone else who may want to climb the Anomaly ladder and get themselves to the coveted rank of AR 300. Now, there are all sorts of factors that will play into how long it'll actually take someone to get from 0 to 300. Your equipment, the investigations you get, how many people will help you during your hunts, how much you fail, and of course, your own personal skill at the game. But let's move on to our experience.
First off, we want to go over how we went about collecting our data, because without an explanation to the process, the results would be rather meaningless. Because we were testing how long it would take us to get to AR 300, we documented every single quest that we did, along with its completion time, to get a sense for how long we spent strictly within quests. Next, in order to capture the total amount of time, including things such as preparing for the quests, sifting through menus, optimizing sets, and other things, I copied down the amount of playtime that we had on the character right before we began our first hunt. And in our case, it was 22 hours, 32 minutes, and 9 seconds. So with our beginning point now set, we were ready to make our hypotheses.
This was an experiment, and as with any good experiment, we needed a hypothesis. So, we made guesses on 3 separate criteria: the number of quests it would take, the amount of time it would take, and the number of times we will faint during the grind to 300.
But that's not all. You see, we couldn't just make our hypotheses without turning this into a little challenge.
Whichever one of us was farther away in our guesses has to fight a Hazard Risen Shigaru Magala without any armor. Oh, and as an added bonus, whichever one of us ends up carding more has to purchase the other one a DLC item of their choosing. So, with our individual hypotheses set, and not knowing what the other person put down beforehand, we were ready to begin the grind.
We started the grind with the Great Roggy investigation provided to you by the game at AR1, since it is an easy fight and because Great Roggy has a massive elemental weakness to ice that I could exploit. From here, it was simply spamming this quest over a few times until we could find ourselves any other quest that could offer us a larger amount of points. And this was the general theme of the grinding process till we got all the way up to Anomaly rank 172, because that is when Frost got one of the best quests that we could have asked for.
Triple Condition, Risen Chameleos, and Velcana at the Flooded Forest.
Now sure, this quest could have taken place in one of the 3 arenas, but for us, this quest was perfect.
Sure, it could have been nicer to have the Prism Spirit Bird to avoid running around for the Spirit Birds, as well as not having to chase the monsters every 2 minutes. But the Flooded Forest had its own advantages, namely in its endemic life. This map in particular features multiple Antidobras. Right. The Antidobras meant Risen Chameleos' poison was never an issue for us. Not only that, we developed a combo that we dubbed
The Thunder from Down Under,
which is simply a marionette spider combined with a thunder beetle. But shouting thunder from down under every time made it so much more fun. Plus, I started every quest by sleep bombing Chameleos as a way to both give myself time to activate Protective Polish and to activate my Switch Axe's amped state using the elemental burst counter on the bomb. There's also Wyvern riding with the Ruby Wirebugs, but eventually we got so strong that Wyvern riding actually became a damage loss.
And we did this quest from AR 172 all the way to AR 240. Where we took a break from this quest, since that is the rank where you unlock access to the final material necessary to fully augment a weapon. So, through about the 10-hour-ish process of going from a weapon with 0 augments to a weapon with full augments, we were ready to continue the rest of our grind to 300. And that is exactly what we did as we completed quest after quest until we had finally achieved the legendary Anomaly rank 300. And with that now complete, our data had been fully collected and it was time to go over the results.
Alright, the moment that you've probably been waiting for this whole time. The total amount of time that it took for us to get from AR0 to 300 was
38 hours and 48 minutes counting our quest completion times, and a total of 66 hours and 51 minutes for the experience in its entirety. It also took a total of 183 quests to complete, with Frost fainting 23 times and I fainted 47 times.
While it took us just about 67 hours to get to AR300, we thought it would also be important to mention how long it took us to get to AR241, because that's the rank when you unlock the final afflicted material necessary to fully augment your weapons, as well as unlock the attack boost and crit eye decorations. So, based on our quest times, the amount of time that took us was around 20 hours and 22 minutes.
And there you have it. A general idea of how long the Anomaly grind might take. It is extremely important to mention once again though, that your experience may differ greatly due to the variables mentioned earlier in this video. Furthermore, we did all of our hunts without the benefit of getting the 120% bonus points by doing join requests, and that is an important element to keep in mind as well. So with the results now mentioned, we also wanted to share our thoughts on the Anomaly grind, since numbers alone do not capture the whole process.
Overall, grinding to AR300 was a surprisingly enjoyable experience. If I had to summarize the Anomaly rank grind, I'd probably say it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It undeniably takes a lot of time to get to AR300, but playing through the game was quite entertaining, or at least for us it was. It was helpful getting a quest that we enjoyed doing nearly 100 times over all the way to 300. I mean, come on, it had Velkhana. And of course, we all know that Velkhana is—
Oh no you don't! Sorry guys, I just had to save it there from a 10-minute rant about how much Frost likes Velkhana. Anyways, another thing that made this grind a lot more fun was challenging ourselves to see what the lowest quest completion time we could achieve was. The best that we could muster was that Anomaly level 249, which we beat in 9 minutes and 47 seconds. Yet another thing that made this experience a lot more enjoyable, and probably the one that had the most influence, was simply the fact that we were doing this together as a duo. Monster Hunter is a multiplayer game after all, and it is likely that the best experiences playing the game will come when you are hunting with a group of your friends, simply having a grand old time slaying monsters and bantering back and forth. So if you want to get to AR300 yourself, we would recommend finding a quest you enjoy doing, get a couple of friends, and go to town. With just about everything out of the way now, the last thing that we want to go over is some other statistics surrounding our grind.
This whole process spanned over 17 days, and if we divide our 66 hours and 51 minutes of completion time by the 17 days we were doing this experiment, we played, on average, 4 hours a day. As for the total number of monsters that we killed, we'll just flash those on screen instead of individually stating the numbers, because that would take way too long. The main thing to point out is our 82 kills on Risen Chameleos and 81 on Velkhana. As for the rest of the monsters we fainted to, we have those here as well. But now, we saved the best statistic for last. We did the Risen Chameleos and Velkhana quest a total of 108 times, but failed it 27 times, which means that we had a failure rate of exactly 25%. You may applaud now. So yeah, this has been our experience grinding from AR0 all the way to 300, and we hope you gained some insight into how this experience may play out for you if you were to do it yourself. So, until next time, be cool, stay frosty.
Wait! Remember how we mentioned we made this experiment to do a bet? Well, we still have to go over those results. To recap, Frost guessed it would take 48 hours to complete 189 quests, with him fainting 20 times and me fainting 40 times. As for my guesses, yeah, so I bought Frost the Pit DLC of his choosing, and I started to fight Rick and Jagan Regal with no armor. I'll have to get back to you on that, so toodles!